Tithely because I believe in the local church.
I like being able to work professionally towards something that I care about personally.
I think, honestly, it's the people. Not just the people that I get to work with on a daily basis, one-to-one, but it's also the people that are our customers.
When I saw the job posting, I was like, whoa, I can combine my professional skills with something I'm really passionate about, and I thought that was really cool.
I work in the success team at Tithely, so some of the major things that we do are really partner with churches to make sure that they're utilizing the program well.
The way that I'm able to serve churches is I'm able to equip my team and resource them and train them to be knowledgeable in the products that we offer.
My day-to-day is really helping churches understand and see that connectivity goes so far beyond just the individual conversation. There's so many tools at hand for preaching and spreading the gospel.
We think through how every part of the journey or every interaction we have with a customer would impact them, how it could impact them in a positive way, in a negative way, because there's a real heart behind the people that are doing this because they care so much about the end user and about the customer.
Everyone makes you feel like you matter. And I think that is in a customer side of things. I feel like we really try to make sure that everyone feels like you matter, from the local church to the big church.
It's just really cool to get to see the different missions and visions of each of our customers and then how they're using our products to help achieve those.
I have a dream in my heart called Canvas Church. And Tithely is the partner that came alongside to help me fulfill that dream. I feel like Tithely, because of who they are as people, can come alongside pastors in an effective way.
We love to create. We have the church in mind. We all come from a background of churches. Most of us, still serve in churches. So we really have a pulse on what the need is at the church because we are the church. That's our needs as well.
Hey, welcome guys. How are you today? There's fog machines going on up here. What is this?
Let me get through the fog.
We're not your worship leaders. We're not used to fog machines. This is awesome.
I'm in the tabernacle, in the glory.
After Nathan getting after it.
After Nathan gave us a kick in the pants.
Man, it's so good to be here. I guess it's still morning. It's so good to be here with you guys. Thank you again for coming. We, for a handful of years now, we've done this thing called Tithely Next, and we've always done them virtual. So we just do them on Zoom or we do them on some other kind of technology, but it's where we talk about a bunch of the new things or even things we've just been building that you might not be aware of. So this is the very first time we've ever done a live event, and so it's the very first time we've ever done any kind of product stuff live with people in the room, and this is pretty cool.
Very cool. We usually use my son's church in LA. It's the undisclosed location is his church in Highland Park.
Right,
so
right.
That's we're out of the box, baby. We're out of our comfort zone.
A little bit. Like we said yesterday, it's so cool to see people actually showed up. So thank you. We know that it is costing you your time, your energy, your effort. Many of you traveled. Again, we saw people from India and Turkey and all over.
From Africa.
I mean, there's people from all over the place, and we know that it is a bit of a sacrifice to do this. So we hope you're having a great time at the conference. We welcome your feedback. We want to keep doing this thing every year and make it bigger and better to serve you guys. We're excited to be together with people who love the local church, love the mission, love the gospel, but also want to use tech for good. So this is a cool environment for us. We feel blessed that we've been able to use our talents and the things God has gifted us with to do it full time, right? We get to do this every single day and serve you guys. It's an honor. We're grateful for that. And, this is such a cool time. So
I think we came away last night, reflecting a little on yesterday. It's we're going to do this again, and it's going to be double next year. So get ready. It's going to be a thing.
Please go home and tell a friend.
Yeah.
And just special thanks. Guys, there is so many great partners of ours down in the expo hall. Amazing companies. A couple of them were up on stage yesterday, Pulpit and Studio C. We've got Ministry Safe. We've got Clear Card. We've got, who else we have out there?
Clearstream.
Clearstream is here. Like
Cheney and Associates.
Cheney. Like I think there's 60 plus great partners of ours. So
All
thank
friends
you
of
to the
ours.
partners and yeah, we know many of them personally. Just a bunch of great organizations that want to serve you guys well and do things for the church. So appreciate all of our partners. But man, this has been 10 years, almost 10 years in the making. Why don't you take us back?
Yeah. So I get asked a lot, like, how did this begin? And some of you have heard the story, but you know, I was in ministry, as you guys know, for a long time. And really, I had always been fairly entrepreneurial in the way I thought about things. I'd started different businesses. And my first 10 years of ministry were missions. Living in Sydney, I'd go and sell real estate for 6 months, and then I'd, you know, go to Africa for 6 weeks and do all my things.
You want to tell them the story in Africa about before going on stage?
No, I don't want to tell that story. That was the Philippines.
We'll wait for season 2. We'll do that in season 2.
I fell into a toilet right as I was about to go on in front of 10,000 people. And the pastor, who was horrified, who was 5'1".
But the toilets weren't like toilets in America.
It was like a little hut. And in I went, one leg in, anyway, I had to wear his pants to preach. And they literally came up to here. I think I preached like I'm blind Bartimaeus or something, man. It was awesome. I ripped it. So I did that for 10 years. And then growing up in Australia, I always knew I'd end up living in America. I loved the United States. I loved American people. And so we moved and planted in Atlanta. And so all that is just, you know, Dean doing ministry. And then I was always fascinated by tech. I stood in line for the first iPhone. I think it was 2009. Which I never stand in line for anything.
7.
I'm so impatient. 7. And then the App Store came out, and I literally, in like 2012, or around there, I downloaded the app. I put my debit card inside the app. Like, I was one of those people that
physically
did that first. Yeah, I shoved it in there. And no, I put it in. I'm like, you're putting your credit card, like, in a app and it's going on your phone? I'm like, yeah, I'm all in. Let's do it. So I go to Starbucks, and those days it was iced vanilla lattes were my drink of choice.
Fancy.
A lot of calories there that I still have. And I open the app, and there's the little barcode thing. And I said to the girl, I said, I think I can pay with this. She's like, what's that? I said, that's the Starbucks app. It's your app. She's like, really? I said, if I put it in front of this little reader, I think magic's gonna happen. She's like, so I go, dink, the ticket comes up. And, you know, I grew up in a charismatic church, and like, you know, us kind of charismatics were big on the presence of God everywhere, and God talking to us and like saying all kinds of things. But I really did like hear something in that moment. And the ticket comes up, and the girl is like, what? And then I heard this voice, this is how simple giving should be. And so I have 2 sons. My youngest son's pastor in LA. My oldest son was the basement dwelling, video game playing son.
I have 2 of those.
You have to,
hopefully they come
I
up
could
with
only
some good
handle
ideas.
1.
Yeah.
And he was the kind of kid that he would disappear. We didn't know where he was. And he'd be like in his room, like reading a book, or he was like 5 or 6 years of age. He says, I'm going to bed now. I'm done with all you people. I can't stand any more talking. This very extroverted family. And so he taught himself to write code. He was building websites when he was like 15, making obscene amounts of money. And I said, his name's Barnabas, after my favorite character in the Bible. I said, Barn, we've got to get an app where people can use their phone to give. He's like, okay, Dad, I got this. And so until I think 12 months later, he's like, Dad, I did it. It's on the App Store. And I'm downloading it. I put my credit card in our app now, and I gave the first donation to our church. Pretty amazing, right? And then I stood up Sunday and said, hey, church, download this app from the App Store. And, you know, and then like tens of thousands of dollars started coming in via the app. I'm like, man, this is working. So I told a bunch of buddies, it was kind of a hobby at the time, you know, and then some things started happening in my life, and I'm like, man, I think I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to help churches raise money. I was the pastor that always got invited to take the offering for the building fund, right? I never had problem talking about money and finances in church.
It's the Australian accent.
And the accent works. It's such a win.
Works.
Like, I've already kind of won you over in the first like 30 seconds with the accent. And, you know, back then, mate, I could really speak Australian. It's a little more nuanced now. And then I met Frank. So it's early 2015. I met Frank, and Barn flew over he's in Nashville. I'm in LA at the time. And we had a steak lunch.
Or dinner. You were CrossFitting, you know? I was
fit back then.
Doing some tries.
Yeah, I took a year off trying to work out what I was supposed to do, so I just exercised all day. As you can tell, I'm past that phase now. I walk around.
And golf, you know?
It's all steps for me. So I met Frank and our old CFO, Steve Klein, and they were payments guys. Like, these were really smart guys that understood how to move money around via the banking system. And so they're like, oh, we think this is a thing. Here's a few dollars. Go and build this business. And so Frank redid the website like in one weekend, and I put a Google phone number on the website. I got the Google app with the phone, and then people started calling. So in that first year, I think we signed up for 400 or 500 churches, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, my church is here. They're in the audience somewhere.
Right.
Hey! One of the early customers of both Tithely and Breeze, for all the Breeze users in the room. So shout out to the SD Church. Glad
Absolutely.
You guys are here.
So I'm taking calls, and and then we hire someone. We actually put out an email.
We emailed all of the members,
the donors
of our customers.
Who wants a job?
Which is a no-no. We don't do that anymore, guys.
No. We only did it one time.
But you know, you make a lot of mistakes when you do things for the first time, probably like this conference. You know, we got a great employee,
Andrew DeLamba.
He's still here.
Who some of you will know because he ramped you on. He's still with us, our first employee. And he's a wonderful young man, lives in Toronto. And so the business started to grow. And then, you know, a couple of years in, it's actually making some money. And we
didn't pay ourselves for the first couple of years, right? We all had day jobs.
We're a true startup. And at the same time of really understanding payments and software, which I had a rudimentary understanding of, but I'm a quick study, you know, I learn pretty quick. So I'm immersing myself in that. The leadership and the running a team, that's all pretty easy, right? You do that in church. Much business is easier than ministry. I'll just tell you that, right? I could go on about that, but this is
people
this is the
are
same
paid,
skills.
not volunteers. And
You're not having to get everyone to do everything for nothing. You can actually pay people. So it's just kind of growing, and then all of a sudden, March 15th, 2020, something happened. The NBA lockdown. The COVID was coming. We were seeing sign-ups kind of tick up. We had 12,000 customers before COVID, and business was going great. And then COVID hit. We peaked at 957 sign-ups in one day. We added 12,000 customers in 6 weeks. The business doubled in 6 weeks. We're hiring people.
And we're all remote, so we're on daily Zoom meetings with
gosh.
the team, holding onto our desks. A lot of the folks are here. Sharon's out here. There's a ton of folks. It was a wild time.
So it's just been an amazing. We've acquired technology. We've built a lot of technology. We have 60 full-time engineers writing code all day for you. And so we acquired a business called Breeze, CHMS, which a lot of you guys use. We acquired another business called Elvanto. We kind of got a website platform. We acquired an app platform. So over the last few years, what we've been doing, you're going to hear a lot about this today. So what today's about is bring that tech together, because we all want our technology to be simple, want it to work, want it to be able to scale, all the things. And so we work very hard to put these pieces together. Building software is difficult. Maintaining it is even harder than that. And so you're always under the hood, making it better. But now we're at 25,000, 30,000 churches. I think we're going to cross 10 billion here pretty soon as far as, dollars processed on the platform. 2 billion this year.
There's 175 people who work full-time at Tithely that wake up every day so excited that they get to serve the church through like the talents God's given them, right? So they get to wake up, they're not working for a church, but they're kind of working for a company that loves the church.
Yeah.
And so they get up, they're excited to serve you guys. You guys have all talked to our employees, people that like sincerely really love serving you guys, and it's like an honor for them. And we talk about it internally all the time. So there's 170, 175 people waking up every day. I mean, we serve almost 40,000 churches. Probably processed close to $10 billion on behalf of you guys who are doing the work in the communities, serving people, loving people, spreading the gospel. And it's just an honor, and it's so cool to see it happening. And we're grateful for you guys kind of being here to hear more about it.
Our whole mission is to create tools and software that make your life easier, that help you raise the money you need to go and fulfill the mission that God has given you, and give it to you at a price point that every single church can afford. That's what we do. And we started with $0 a month giving platform, that we have a processing fee, you can cover the fees. I think our average church pays about 1.7%. So it's, we believe that even though we're here, we make money, we're a business, we employ people, we have great benefits for our employees, we do all that, but we just want to make sure that this software that we're building is the most affordable, the best in class, because ultimately we want to be out of the way. We want to be in the back, building, giving you this platform so you can go and do the real work, which is saving souls and leading people to Christ. And so that's the...
We got a great lineup.
Yeah.
We're excited for you guys to hear more. I think the one theme that we want you guys, it is so hard to communicate effectively with 40,000 churches, for you guys to kind of always have all of the information about what we're up to. So you guys being here is a treat for us. You're going to hear from John Holtkamp first. John has been around for a long time. He heads up all of our kind of giving and financial suite of products. He's going to educate you on a bunch of things we've been up to and what we've been building. But what the main theme I think we want you to walk away with is we've been bringing all these tools into one unified platform. That's a big part of our focus, to make it just easy for you guys to do your job as technologists serving the church. So with that, John Holtkamp, you gonna come up, man?
The guys.
Let's do it. Hey, John is a legend around Tithely, just so you guys know. So everyone, give him a big round of applause. John, welcome. That's right.
Today, I am so excited to talk with you about the giving trends that we see across the tens of thousands of churches that use Tithely, and to help you understand that Tithely exists to empower you to help people take their next step on their growth journey. My goal today is that as you leave this room or end this live stream, you feel equipped with information that you can take back to your church to help people take that next step. But before we start digging into the world of church finance and diving into the data together, I want to share a personal story. Back in 2019, my wife came to me and told me that she was feeling led for us to give a large gift. The catch was she didn't know how much the gift was for or even what it was for, and it was up to me, to figure it out. So I spent the following weeks trying to figure out what in the world this gift was, but thankfully, God made it obvious to me within a few weeks, and we decided to follow God's leading and give a significant gift that impacted our lifestyle. As we gave this gift, I understood the magnitude of what we were doing because it was going to force us to change the way we budgeted for the foreseeable future. What I didn't anticipate is what God would do in me because of it. In retrospect, what was happening was we were taking a step from being tithers to being above and beyond givers. I'd grown up in a Christian household my whole life. I'd tithed for basically my whole life, but I'd never actually given a gift that forced me to change the way I lived. This moment changed me to my core, because in this moment, I decoupled my life from my finances, and I would never look at finances the same again. So many of you understand what this kind of change is like because you have experienced it yourself. It's spiritual in how you can feel what God is doing in you and changing you. It's freeing in how you can feel yourself being decoupled from something you didn't even realize had a hold on your life. And it's a step along a path that we're all on with Christ as we're growing in our finances and other areas of our lives. And it's this type of growth that drives us to do what we do here at Tithely. We realize it's not all about taking this next step in becoming an above and beyond giver, because there's many steps along the way. These steps include changes in donor behavior, like giving for the first time, choosing to give a second gift, choosing to give regularly or semi-regularly, choosing to tithe, choosing to create a recurring gift, or choosing to give above and beyond like I just described. As a donor chooses to take one of these steps and move on to the next stage, they have the chance to see God move in their lives in ways they've never seen him move before, just like so many of us have seen. Now, I want to focus today on specifically one of these steps, the step of becoming a recurring giver. And before I even do that, I want to define what a recurring giver is in the context of this talk. So, in the context of this talk, a recurring giver is someone who has set up a gift to be given automatically on a schedule of their choosing. This can be weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, but they set the gift up once and then it's given regularly after that. And many of you hear me say this, and you may be like, why in the world is this guy on stage trying to differentiate between a tither and a recurring giver? And that's a valid question. It's really up to the donor to decide if there's a difference, because it's based on their perspective of recurring giving. To so many, there is no difference. And in fact, if you ask that question, there probably is no difference for you. Many donors just want to give what they're called to give, and they want to give in a way that helps the church the most. But for some donors, taking this step means that they're giving regardless of sickness, regardless of travel, regardless of inconvenience. And for these donors, they have the opportunity to see God move in their lives in ways they've never seen him before. And the importance of this step is a reason why we feel churches should focus on recurring. Because there are many factors surrounding recurring that impact churches. But this step is one that is so important for donors. With that, and with recurring being so important for donors and for churches, why aren't more donors creating recurring gifts? So, let's take a look at this. And I'm sorry, let's jump back to a question that a product manager here at Tithely, Nick White, asked. Nick, are you in the room? Let me hear you, Nick. There we go. We got Nick White. Nick White asked churches this question about recurring as we start looking at why recurring is so important to churches. Nick White asked this: which of the following changes in giving trends at your church do you think would have the greatest positive impact on your church community? As you can see from this limited poll that Nick White asked churches, recurring giving is critical for churches. And this is the most apparent in a season that all of us experience, the summer slump. Now, the summer slump impacts churches to different degrees. So we've decided to take a look at how the summer slump actually impacted Tithely as a whole. And to do that, we'll look at the impact that the summer slump had on Tithely giving. Now, as we look at this, I want to mention, we're looking at all Tithely giving, monthly giving, but churches using Tithely in general will experience the same sort of trend that we'll experience from Tithely as a whole. So looking at this chart, you'll see that we've zoomed in at the top of the chart to show a 5% decline in giving in the summer of 2023 compared to the months surrounding. Now, if you ask Google or AI what the impact is of the summer slump on giving at churches, they'll both agree that the impact is in general 10 to 20%. It causes a 10 to 20% drop in giving at churches. So whether you experience a 10 to 20% drop or a 5% like most churches experience with Tithely, either way, it is a significant drop in one that requires most churches to budget for it. I bring up recurring giving when talking, and I bring up the summer slump when talking about recurring giving, because recurring giving is the number one way to combat the summer slump. As all of you know, the primary cause of the summer slump is that the summer brings with it many reasons to miss church. And there's nothing wrong with this. I love it when I hear churches mention to people not to feel guilty for missing church from time to time for things like family, like travel, and other things the summer brings. However, as there's this drop in attendance, there's also a drop in giving because of people who are giving one-time gifts from week to week or month to month. And as they miss church, they also tend not to give. So now getting to the point I touched on before, with recurring giving being so important for donors and so important for churches, why aren't more donors setting up recurring gifts? We've had the opportunity to talk with donors and churches for over 9 years. And through these conversations, we found that the number one reason why donors don't create recurring gifts is because churches don't ask them to. Now, there's many valid reasons why a donor might not create a recurring gift if not asked to. I've chosen just a few for us to talk through today. This is not a comprehensive list, but these are reasons that I find hard to answer, which is why I bring them up. The first one is a donor wants to experience a giving moment as they give. What a beautiful reason, right? A donor doesn't want to just have a gift given automatically. They want to have that giving moment. Second reason, a donor wants to save a church money on fees by giving by cash and check. Another great reason. And last of all, a donor's just not ready to take the step, which is what we've really discussed today already. These are all valid reasons, and I picked these reasons because these are reasons that resonate with me personally. However, if you believe what I've said so far today and recurring is important to you and your church, there's no reason why you can't walk donors through these things. So let's run through an exercise together and go through these. For the first reason, the donor wanting to have a giving moment. During the giving moment at church, why not mention, for those of you that have a recurring gift, thank you so much for supporting our church that way. Please take the next few moments to reflect on the gift that you've given recently and on what God's doing in your life. This gives the donors of your church, this gives all the members of your church the opportunity to understand the importance of recurring, but it also helps those that have a recurring gift to have that moment to reflect on the gift. Okay, let's jump on to the second group, those who give by cash and check to save on fees. It's so easy to focus on fees and completely miss the consistency that recurring brings and the convenience that recurring brings for the church. By simply explaining this to a donor, so many are more than willing to create a recurring gift because all they want to do is give what God's called them to do and to give in a way that helps the church the most. So if it helps the church the most to set up a recurring gift, then they're more than happy to do so. And for the third group, the group that isn't ready to give, by simply talking about recurring, you're making sure it's front of mind so that once they're ready to set up a recurring gift, they're thinking about it. All right, so we've now talked about the importance of recurring giving for the donor as they take that step, and we've talked about the importance of recurring giving for the church in one scenario. We've just talked about the summer slump, even though there's so many areas that it helps the church. Let's take a look at the impact that recurring giving has on annual giving for a donor. And to do this, we're going to look at giving across all of Tithely, all donations given at Tithely. And to begin with, we're going to focus on donors who just give one-time donations. And what I mean by a one-time donation, I don't mean they give once and they never give again. I mean that they're giving single time, manually, one at a time. So they may give 52 times or more a year, but each time they do it, it's a manual action. As we look at these donors, and we look at the amount they give annually, on average, a donor that gives one-time donations manually gives $1,245 annually. So once again, this is a donor making one-time donations throughout the year. Now, if we go over here, run the same type of analysis for donors that give recurring gifts, a donor that gives a recurring gift on average, annually will give $2,739. How cool is that? That because a donor decided to take that step, which already can have such a deep impact on their lives, now the church is that much better equipped to reach the city and the world. But let's take that a step farther and let's look at the median. And I have a confession to make to you. I'm a nerd. I love math, and secretly, I'm an engineer that snuck his way into product. But that's good news for you because it means I can quickly explain what a median is. If you take a set of data and you split it in half, the middle value is the median. The statistical significance of this is that it removes all the noise from those big gifts and all the noise from the little gifts. So if we do this type of analysis, now we look at the median for the donors that give one-time manual gifts and the amount they give throughout an entire year, the median amount given annually is $204. I just told you, removed all the noise from the big gifts in this case. All right, so if we do the same type of analysis for recurring donors, the median amount given annually is $1,228. 6 times more, once again, because a donor chose to take this step, which can have such an impact on their lives. Now a church has that much more to be able to reach the city and the world. So what do you do with all this data? I just dumped a bunch on you. What do you do with this? Well, first of all, if you're interested in focusing on recurring giving, we see the most success when churches set a goal surrounding recurring. One example of this is with a church called Woodland Hills in St. Paul, Minnesota. They put a focus on recurring, and they were able to grow their recurring to make up 75% of their overall giving. But as a first step, if you work with Tithely, just log into your giving dashboard and look at where your recurring is now. From there, you can set a goal for where you'd like to be. And while you're logged into your Tithely Giving dashboard, take a look at some of the widgets that are relevant to what we talked about today. For instance, the First Time Giver widget will help you understand what donors have given recently for the very first time. And the Regular Giver widget will help you understand what donors are giving on a regular basis but don't have a recurring gift set up. This gives you an idea of those donors that might be ready to take their next step. And with recurring being so important for churches, you'll see us launching new tools like a QR code generator that makes it so much easier for you to help donors to set up a recurring gift. And you'll see us launching new tools in our new admin batch giving, which we're rolling out to more churches every single week. These tools will help you so that you can send out messaging to donors who give by cash and check to make it easier for them to set up a recurring gift. So, with that, we're getting to the close. I want to close where we began, with my personal story. I am passionate about the growth journey because of what I've seen it do in my life. And that makes me so excited to see other people take their next step. Thank you so much for partnering with Tithely, because selfishly, it allows me to partner with you to help people take their next step. With that, I'm excited to introduce to the stage Natalie Humble, the Group Product Manager of Breeze CHMS. But before that, let's watch this story video from Stella Church.
Church is embrace the difference of God's word so that you can be the difference in your world.
Community is the heart of what we do, just helping people learn more about who God is and learning to love God more through their journey.
I think people are looking for something authentic and real, life-changing, and certainly we understand that anyone who's truly had God reach in and change their lives, that's something that you never forget. From the very get-go, you are just so buried in details starting a church. I had worked with other giving services, and they were not easily integrated and kind of frustrating, just to be honest with you. The old platform had become outdated quickly, and not to mention it was not designed for churches.
It was just not as intuitive. It was just a little bit clunkier, a little bit harder for people to figure out where to go.
I had seen other online giving services that just were kind of sketchy. I was like afraid to run my own credit card. to have a not great giving platform that could have been literally detrimental to our reputation or what we're trying to do at our church. And I was so worried, like, how is this going to work with our online giving? Is it going to be just a nightmare? My name is Devin Akers. I am the pastor at Stello Church right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. We started our church just a little over 5 years ago. We're a portable church. We're on the go. We're on the move a lot. And we needed a giving service that could basically follow us wherever we go. I remember when we transitioned to Tithely, just how easy it was to set up automated giving, how beautiful the integrations were, all the platforms that you can have, the website, the app. There was a lot of communication from Tithely to us on what we needed to do. And it was seamless. Not one giver in our church was impacted negatively. In fact, what we did is we actually did a giving series teaching on Wednesday nights, our midweek service, and then we launched this simultaneously. It was just a beautiful way to go into a new chapter of our online giving, and it really did make an impact on the bottom line.
We were trying to make sure that all of our platforms were set up in a more structured way. So making sure that we were setting up like our giving categories the right way. We've had different special offerings that we've done throughout the years. And so making sure that those are set up properly so that it's really easy so that when people go in, they're able to just see like special offering name and choose that option compared to the general offering. There are so many platforms that just logging in is a pain, and this isn't. You just put in your phone number, it sends you a code, you're good to go. You can choose what day it goes on and what day you want it to start, which is nice when it comes to pay cycles. You can choose if you want to cover fees, so that way you know that the church is getting the full amount. Tithely's just easy. You can do credit and debit cards, you can do bank. It's easy for people to use, it integrates well on the website, and then it's just easy for us to set up on our side.
When we switched giving platforms and we went to Tithely, which is specifically designed for churches, we watched for several months in a row the giving go up and up and up. Not just the giving as far as number, but the individual or the family that was giving became more consistent. From the youngest to the oldest member, everybody jumped on board pretty quickly as the access became easier. This is another thing that I love about Tithely is how easy it is to add and take away giving categories. Let's say there's been like some sort of disaster in another country on a Saturday night. Well, by Sunday, we could have added a category to actually give funds to that specific relief effort. From a phone, you know, the secretary can log in, add the category, make it simple. There's been times where we literally will in service add a category. By the end of that service, the parishioners of our church can actually give to it. Even down to registration for like our youth camps or our leadership retreats that we do, you can add a category and make it non-tax deductible. So from the back end of things, it just makes all of these things all in one place super easy and integratable.
As a secretary, it's really within like 2 clicks that you can go to, and it's listed out who's given what and be able to have a oversight of what the final number is, and everything is organized so well. It basically does everything for you. I really don't have to do much. The end of year giving statement tax form is like amazing because it literally has it all written out for you. It gives you a template to go off, and I love that because the first time I did it, it was amazing to kind of already have that outline ready for you. You just had to answer a couple of questions, and it definitely makes the end of the year process so easy and less stressful.
Each year around October, we do a series that we call our Sacrificial Giving Series. The way that our church has made an impact within the organization that we're a part of, the United Pentecostal Church International, has specifically been by giving to the annual offerings. This is effectively the largest single offering that our organization gives towards our church planters. And you see dollars go all over the world to make an impact, including in what is called non-access nations and regions. And since the beginning, we've watched that offering grow every single year exponentially. And Tithely's been a huge part of that because you can say you're going to give something, you can intend to give something, but when you have it at your fingertips and it's easily accessible, it helps you be consistent and actually follow through. And it's always amazing to be a part of something bigger than just yourself or your local church, and to be able to give to these specific initiatives and to actually watch them make a great impact across the world.
Wow. Hi, hello everyone. I am Natalie Humble. I am our group product manager over the church management side of the business here at Tithely. And a few minutes ago, we just heard John describe the journey that many members go on from being maybe a first-time giver to an above and beyond giver. And actually, giving is a symptom of something much deeper. It's evidence of a connection to your church and engagement in your congregation. And over the last year in Breeze, we have been hyper-focused on that member engagement because we see what y'all are up against. We see the data, we see the trends, the lowering in new member attendance, the weekly attendance rates dropping, and unfortunately, that gap is widening with the younger generation. So how do we call people back? How do we engage our members? Well, as churches, the first thing we want to do is be involved in our community, right? We want to be that hub of activity. We want to be the ones that are hosting maybe that Thanksgiving turkey dinner or the fall festival or the winter festival, because all of those activities are driving awareness about your congregation, and ultimately they're driving traffic to your website. So having a modern, crisp website that really encompasses the vision and the mission of your church is critical. This year in Breeze, we launched the ability for you to build and manage a Tithely site directly from the extensions page. And there's some powerful tools. You can do things like allow visitors to plan a visit where they can actually pick a date and a time that they're going to show up to your church. You can put staff bios and pictures out there so that when people do show up, they're seeing a friendly face the first time they walk through the door. You can also post small group information and event details so that when a visitor is looking at your website, they're going to get a real sense of what it's like to be in your congregation. So now, hopefully, you've got all these new members streaming through your doors. How are you going to engage these people throughout the week? Because we know it's not enough to just engage folks when they show up for service once a week, once every other week, once a month, hopefully not. Too much life is happening in between there. Too much is getting caught in the fray, right? I'm a mom. I have 2 little kids. And my mom brain capacity, I have like this much space on a daily basis. And today with the speech, I have no space. So I don't ask me a logistics question. I don't know where anything is. But when I have that one quiet hour at night, how nice would it be to be looking at content that is nourishing to me, that I'm connecting with my congregation? That's where the church app comes into play. This year in Breeze, we also launched the ability for you to build and manage a church app directly from the extensions page. And you can do things like create a prayer wall so that mom at night can be scrolling the prayer wall to connect with other members as opposed to doom scrolling social media. I think it's probably much more productive. You can also do things like post sermon videos, and folks can take sermon notes so they can stay in the Word throughout the week. And then my favorite thing is push notifications because 1, they're free, and 2, there are so many different use cases. Why not say, hey, I can't wait to see you on Sunday? Or, oh gosh, we need 2 more volunteers for this event. Or don't forget the Thanksgiving turkey dinner, right? There are so many different touch points, and now we're engaging with those members when and how they feel most comfortable. And for that younger generation, you're closing that gap, right? But we also know that when people give of themselves and they give of their time, they feel a deeper sense of connection to your church. So having as many members volunteer as possible is crucial. Small churches, y'all are really good at this. You're good at saying all hands on deck. But mid-size and larger churches, it can be hard to know, who can contribute, what people can help with. So we love when folks use a Breeze new member form and they ask, what gifts can you bring? Are you financially savvy? Are you technically savvy? Are you great with kids? Are you just really darn organized? Because all of those gifts are contributing to the congregation. Now, we've had volunteer management in Breeze for years, but we did know that we had a bit of a gap around service planning and worship planning. So in the last year, we launched the ability for you to, oh, there's so much smoke, for you to plan, we haven't come over here yet, for you to plan your order of service, share that with anyone who needs to see it, and then on the worship planning side, You can create a song library, you can add songs, you can add chord sheets, music sheets, and all of those can get added to a set list. And then you can be accessing that set list either natively in Breeze or in our brand new Breeze worship app. So now your worship team can be practicing and getting ready to lead service from their tablet or from their mobile device. Sites, apps, worship planning, all of this functionality has really been geared towards member engagement. And when I look at 2025, we're gonna take those features even deeper and hopefully drive even more value for you and your members. But hopefully you see though that member engagement isn't just hoping that people are gonna show up for service. It's about creating lasting, deep connections that bring people closer to the congregation, closer to each other, and ultimately closer to God. So I want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of your church's journey, and I cannot wait to see how y'all are going to serve your local communities. Thank you. God bless.
Is anybody excited about Tithely 3.0? Can I hear it? Come on, can I hear it? Man, Christian, I don't know about you, but I am super excited about Tithely 3.0.
I am pumped.
So I'm Dan Ermler. I'm the VP of Product and Engineering here at Tithely.
My name's Christian Helvin. I lead those engineering teams here.
So I don't know if you remember, but a couple years ago, a pretty important thing happened. Tithely and Breeze joined forces. This was a huge step forward in church technology. See, Tithely had been on a mission to make online giving easy, simple, and innovative for churches. And Breeze, in the same way, was on a similar mission to make church management easy, simple, and innovative. This was a huge partnership that happened just a couple years ago.
That's right. The strategic goal has always been to bring the best parts of Tithely and the best parts of Breeze into one cohesive package.
But we've been listening to you. We understand using two systems is frustrating, right? You're having to manage two logins, two user interfaces, two data sets. I heard an amen. Hey, we know. And as ministry leaders, you have enough to worry about.
I mean, who's leading kids ministry this week? I know it's not me.
Yeah, we're tech guys. Yeah, right, kids are tough. So as we look forward and as we're looking ahead, we really did want to bring these two platforms together. But as you've seen, Tithely has grown quite a bit. We went from working with hundreds of churches to thousands and now tens of thousands. So as we looked at these two platforms to bring them together, we saw some pretty significant challenges. And we had one primary goal: to make sure you who use this software day in and day out have complete confidence it's going to work well. So Christian, can you talk about some of those challenges?
100%. Look, as we've grown, we now serve hundreds of thousands of daily active users using the platforms to reach you. And you are also reaching your church through that platform. And through that, we've learned, look, there's 1,000 ways that we could provide this package, but we have to protect your data. We have to protect the people that you're entering into the system and the people that are also collaborating on that system.
Yeah.
And look, we could spend all days talking about all of the services and the redundancies that we've prevented to make sure we're offering the best. But our focus today is to show you the stories of how this outcome actually serves you.
Yeah, I love that, Christian. I think you're getting the theme of kind of who we are here. I'm just a kid who grew up in California in a pastor's home, and I think a lot about pastors. My brother currently is in San Jose. He's a church planner out there. And I don't know about you, but pastors, has there ever been a more important time just to know the state of your flock? I mean, there's so many influences. You talk to somebody, and there's so many things that are influencing your flock. And it's more, we want to make sure that you have this high level, 360-degree kind of health dashboard for your members, because you've all seen it. You've seen someone who is on fire, excited about the Lord, come to church, and they stop giving. That's okay, they stop giving. And then you see what happens next. They stop serving. And then the next, they stop visiting, or they stop coming consistently, and then they're gone. So one of our goals with Tithely 3.0 is to give you the ability to have key insights, to know how's your flock doing? How are people in your church? Who's that person who needs pastoral care? Who's that person who needs some extra time in discipleship? So this really beats heavy in our heart. Along with lead pastors, we also think about our financial leaders. You know, you're the backbone of the church, making sure that we have the ability to move forward at the church. And so previously, right, we've had donor information in the profile for a long time, but we're really excited by combining both Breeze and Tithely together. We think we can give you donor as well as overall trends for the church globally. So this is exciting. So from a donor perspective, think of those key insights, right? You're gonna be able to see, like, what John here was talking about, the steps you take, but some of those steps are engaging in the app. Some of those steps are serving for the first time, joining a small group, and we want to know, how do those things impact the giving experience as well? In our opinion, giving is just an act of obedience. As people love and grow closer to God, they're going to take those simple acts of obedience in the gift, in their journey of generosity. And we want to help you as financial leaders steward that well. But we also think about the global trends. John talked about this. We've all experienced the summer bump. You know, we're happy people get to take vacations, spend time with the kids, but man, we see it in that church budget. By bringing by looking at your attendance data along with your recurring data, what we're hoping is we can turn more of your summer slumps into summer bumps.
Amazing. And look, it doesn't stop there. With Breeze and Tithely coming together, it goes out to the communications leaders and pastors. It's already so hard to reach the right people at the right time in the right ways. And no matter if you do everything perfectly, people will still say, I never heard about that event. Or I don't know that this even was going on. The thing about it is by all of your data being stored in one secure place, at the end of the day, people are the church.
Yeah.
And when we store it in one place, well, look, your sites get updated from that. Your apps, your content, it all comes from one place. When you want to send out an SMS, when you want to send out an email, a push notification, you're reaching out to the same group of people over and over using that consistent layer. And then take it a step further, it's the volunteers. You are the backbone of the church in the sense that you make sure that our visitors are cared for, that our staff are cared for. And in that, by providing all of these tools in one package, we're building up our volunteer management even greater than it's been. And we're making sure that it's all powered, again, by that one area called people that allows you to take full advantage of that. And then finally, it comes to church admins. I can't say enough thank yous to church admins. Primarily, we serve you on a daily basis, and you sit in the back room. You don't get to sit on the stage or stand on the stage, and I'm sure you'd rather not. But what I will say is you care for the data, and you care for the flock in 1,000 ways to where the rest of the church, and including yourself, can make an impact. And what's amazing is by it having one organized place to store, to act on your data, to analyze and make sure that it's kept up to date, it is literally one simple system with one simple navigation, one simple unified platform for you to use.
Yeah. So as we begin to roll out Tithely 3.0, we have one goal in mind. We want it to grow with your church. We want it to adapt to your needs. And we want you to be able to focus on what matters most, your ministry. Thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing how you're going to use Tithely 3.0.
Hey guys, we're back. We're gonna ask these guys a couple questions. I feel like I want to say audience participation, but I'd probably freak them out. So
Yes, please, easy questions.
we will not do that. Man, great stuff, guys.
Thanks.
That was awesome. It's in a way, guys, it's really hard to communicate. I mean, I think Dean mentioned it earlier. Have a seat.
I like stalking around the stage like a raging lion.
Making everyone nervous over here. You know, there's what, Christian, 50, 60 engineers, maybe 60, 70 total, like on the product, thinking about the product and the engineering and the QA and the DevOps and the servers, and like, there's a bunch of people, and it's actually really hard to communicate everything that they do. Like, there's a lot of work that they're doing every single day. There's this thing called tech debt. It's like when you buy a house and then you got to keep your house, like, things break, right? Stuff breaks, it gets old, you have to repair it. Like, the same kind of thing happens in technology. So there's a lot going on. So grateful for you guys and all the work you're doing. We wanted to hit you with a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you do it.
John, I got one for you. We wrote them down so that we could stay on track here. Since you're the finance guy at Tithely, like, the economy's been a big thing, right? It's all in the news, like inflation and all the things going on. Like, what are you seeing it as, like, you know, in church giving and the intersection of kind of the economy and everything that's going on today?
Yeah, as I was preparing, obviously you just heard me talk about recurring. As I was preparing that talk, something that I was going through at the time was just the interesting giving behavior we've seen this year. I'm guessing so many of you in here have seen what I'm talking about, where we've seen interesting giving trends. And this isn't just going into the summer slump we talked about, but this is also because we've had interesting things in the economy like inflation, elections, and other things going on around the world that have really impacted giving in interesting ways. Now, as we go into this season, it can be a bit more difficult to deal with it now that we're in the season. Sure, there's plenty of things you can do with the Tithely platform, and I know you asked about the finance side of things, but there's also great things you can do if you already have a Tithely app. If you use messaging, ways that you can reach out, say if people aren't at church, or even if people are at church, to encourage giving. But the best thing you can do is to be proactive about it, is to take those seasons when this isn't happening and start building up when it's not. And honestly, right now it isn't even that bad. But I would say right now, there's no time that's soon enough for you to start planning. Start, hey, let's get people using the church app because that's the best way to keep them connected. Let's get our site built out better. Let's make sure giving is optimized on the site, and get yourself prepared so that when you get into seasons, which, like I said, we're in a minor one now, but when you're in seasons like this, you're ready for that season as it hits.
Love that. I would also say, don't be afraid to ask. Like, don't be afraid to talk about giving.
I always begin when I'm, talk about this subject, and you're, a lot of you are teachers and you're in the pulpit, and I think the biggest, like, we can build all the bells and whistles of tech, and we can make it, like, so easy to give, but unless you're biblically teaching your congregation about generosity in the tithe, and it begins with you, the minister, who's ministering to the people, having that revelation yourself. I've talked to thousands of pastors over the years, and they're like, well, something like, I don't think I need to give because I'm the priest. And like, read your Bible, dude. Like, you set the tone in everything. How you live, like how you treat your wife, how you live your life according to kingdom morals, how generous you are, typically trickles in down all the way through your church. And so it's how we lead that can bring the most effective change when it comes to this topic. So you got to get a revelation. There's like unbelievable amounts of like scripture for you to use. Teach what the Bible says. And then when people get that revelation, yeah, we're here, we'll put the tech in their hands and it'll be super easy. Recurring, 2 clicks, great. But it's got to come from those who are instructing the congregations around this area. Teach what the Bible says and put technology on with it, and giving goes up.
Amen. Natalie, we've been building a lot on the Breeze side. Like, it's been a huge focus, a lot of efforts going on over there. You mentioned Tithely church apps, Tithely websites, and even worship planning and the worship app and all that, all being put onto Breeze this year, right?
Yep.
And there's more to come. There's a whole roadmap going. But how do people take advantage of that? Like, I don't know, talk about some examples of churches doing well or how they take advantage of all these new features.
Yeah, and sites, apps, and worship planning, which I talked about earlier, all three of those are actually currently available in the Breeze Extensions page. And a little bit of a plug, I know our sales guys are probably in here. There is a bundled offer on those right now, which is incredible. It's a great way to get engaged with all three of those at the moment. The church app, John and I get so excited about the church app because that's the one where we've actually kind of taken that first step toward Tithely 3.0. Right now, you can pull in Breeze event details and you can actually RSVP to those events, and those RSVPs get pulled into Breeze forms. So you're starting to see the connectivity that we're talking about in 3.0 in Breeze today. And the app, there's just gonna be so much more coming to it. We have churches that have been using sites or been using apps for years, and now as they're starting to see that connectivity with Breeze, they are giddy about it. So if I could just, plug one thing, I would say keep an eye on that church app specifically because that is really gonna be kind of the way forward and there's gonna be so much functionality coming.
Shout out, John was the original engineer on church apps, just so you guys know, because he is an engineer. So legend all around.
It's very high quality code.
People had to know. Christian, Tithely 3.0. We are very creative in our naming around here.
We're
that was
the best.
brilliant. Hit it on the head. So we showed the two systems coming together. We tried to simplify it. It's actually a handful of other things too. It's not actually just two systems. It's probably more like 4 or 5. But for simplicity's sake, Breeze and Tithely coming together. Give us a little bit more on the timeline. Certain things are here today, but there's other things that we're still doing. So maybe you can speak a little bit about that.
This is a question I get really excited about. As an engineer,
everybody's coming to the booth to ask you again, so you can say it here now.
I recognize that. As the engineer, I'm terrified of the word deadlines. But what I will say is I've worked in tech my whole life. I will say, in normal software companies, we're great about going heads down for years on end, building the best thing in the world, and then coming back up and realize the customers didn't want that. We built features that no one ever needed. As Dan and I were working through what Tithely 3.0 would look like, we ended up spending a lot of time strategizing the why of what are we delivering and why are we providing in the way we are. And what we've done is we've actually been delivering Tithely 3.0 and building the foundations for a couple of years now. It actually started, and you saw the first trickles earlier this year with sites and apps coming into Breeze. There's a foundational layer that actually brought the data into one place. It didn't mean that data's coming from multiple places. It came from one. And we're beginning to bring that closer together. And so we've taken a phased approach to Tithely 3.0. Phase 1 is actually on track for end of this year, first of next. And then we'll be working on scoping out the rest as we're getting further. But what Natalie mentioned earlier, spot on. Our goal is that deep connective tissue between and behind all of our products, to where when you do something in one space, you see it in the rest. And to be really honest, it all becomes one product because it is that.
You had me at one login.
Yeah,
100%.
Right? Like, does anything else matter?
And all the admins said amen.
Dan, I guess maybe to close, kind of the future. Like, where do you see things headed? You oversee product and engineering at Tithely, so you get to live in the clouds a little bit. Like, where are we headed? What's coming next? What do you see on the horizon for churches and technology?
Yeah, I love this question as well. Not to sound overly, I know this has got mentioned a couple of times, I'm gonna have to say AI, right? Artificial intelligence, I think, is gonna have a big impact. And again, we're gonna be working through how does this look in our local church context. But as I look at AI, I want you to think about it maybe a little bit differently. What we're seeing right now is called generative AI. So it generates text and it generates images. But the way I like to look at it in our churches is the idea of personalization, right? If you think about emails that were going out 5, 6 years ago, right, there were these broadcasted emails, and you weren't getting this one specifically. You were getting it sent. This is a MailChimp email, and I'm getting 1,000 people are receiving the same email. AI gives us the ability to be personalized in our messaging, and this is so powerful. I mean, if I called out, Bill, is there a Bill in the house? Hey, Bill. And so good to see you. The reason why Bill raised his hand is because that's his name. And AI gives us the ability to have personalized conversations with people, which is really exciting. I don't know all the ways that this is going to take place and work, but we're looking here at Tithely. Like, how can we make, when you're talking to your church members, how can we make it just more personalized? Like, case in point, inviting, someone to a men's retreat, and you can say, hey, John, we saw that when you signed out the new visitor card, you were interested in building connections with men in the community. This is a great event specifically for you. So we want to add that personalization. Along with personalization, I also see amplification. This is where I get really excited. I grew up in ministry, went to a Bible college, met my wife there, and I think about software from this context. Very few people get into full-time ministry so they can use software. Like, I have yet to meet that person.
Yeah, I haven't met one yet.
I missed that course.
Yeah.
In seminary.
And so my goal, and this is going to blow some people away because this is not the Silicon Valley, I want you to spend as little time in the software as possible. Know why? Because I know there's people in your church who need your time. They need you to disciple them. They need you to care about them. And so I think AI is actually going to help you amplify. It's going to do tasks for you that today are taking a lot of your time, and it's going to free you up to do that people ministry. And so we're really excited about that. You're going to see more. This is kind of what, if you step into the background of the Tithely Labs, we're looking at how you use the software. What are those time-intensive tasks? And how can we let AI take care of that so you can focus on the people in your ministry?
Hey, Dan, is there a world, if I'm using worship planning, for instance, and I'm planning the service, and I go and manually plan 10 weeks of church, but then AI, I could just go plan service around this theme, and it chooses all the songs automatically? Like, is that a thing?
This is Dean sharing our roadmap. So if you're listening, but yeah, service planning, right? It's really tough to figure out volunteers, what songs, right? Someone's going to come up to you after the service. We sang that song last week. You're like, well, you weren't singing last week, so I was hoping you'd sing this week. But it's hard. It's hard to put together, that volunteer who's like, yes, I would love to serve in kids ministry. And you're like, well, it's been 10 weeks now. Like, when are you jumping in? So what we really want to do is take that time-intensive task, because that's all, there's just a pattern there, and AI does great at pattern recognition. Can we take the songs that have been sung? Can we take maybe the pastor's message, which, again, I love. You're going to hear a lot. We're just local church people, so we think a lot about this, but man, the pastor spent 5 to 10 hours. The Holy Spirit's put something on his heart. Are there songs that could, go along with his message? Are there verses that could be shared with the congregation? Right? How do we think through that? And so one of the ways we're looking at AI is, man, can we take that pattern recognition around, what songs are being used, what volunteers, what's the order of service, and can we kind of give you a first draft? Again, we don't want to do all of it. But if we can do enough of it, we're like, man, that's no longer a time-intensive time. We think that's a pretty big deal. So again, we're looking at that in hundreds of other ways to save you time.
Amen.
Amen.
You know what?
Great work from the product crew.
Yeah, give these guys a hand. They're like unsung heroes, a bit like all of you guys behind the scenes administrating your church. You know what I love, like this week, just watching how passionate, we're all Christians. We all go to church. We understand the pain of what you go through as a church leader, because we've all been church leaders. Mm-hmm. And I just love how our company...
And serve. I mean, most of the team serves in church today. We have tons of worship team folks and kids ministry and volunteering and all kinds of things. So we hear perspectives from the staff all the time, because we're all in it every week.
True to form, we're giving away stuff.
We always do giveaways at Tithely Next. So we got some giveaways. Yes, let's go. So you get to read the names today, so I don't butcher them.
I'm pumped. So we've gone to Amazon gift cards. It's the way to go. Like, it's just easy. We just give you this. We've submitted to Amazon. They control like 90% of my life. So that's how we're rolling now, right? We used to give like phones and iPads, like we'll just give you the money, and you go do whatever you want with it. Hallelujah.
Oh, you lost it.
So here
There
I am.
it is.
Okay, so we have from Forest Home Church of the Nazarene, Aaron Baker, $100 Amazon gift card.
Where's Aaron?
Is Aaron around?
Come on, Aaron.
He's hiding.
Aaron, you have to be in the room, man.
Oh, is that a rule?
Well, it's not a rule, but
dude, someone's trying to call you. Someone's calling me.
All of these, Aaron. It's Aaron trying to call you.
It's
He's
ADT security. Someone's breaking into my house. It's all good.
Aaron's not here. I don't know how to feel about that, Aaron. Maybe you're online, Aaron, because we have a bunch of people watching online too.
We do. Okay, Dwayne,
The Rock.
Cesarez.
I didn't want to say that one because I was going to get it wrong.
You set me up to fail on that, dude.
Let's
My
go!
man!
Let's go!
$250 coming your way, brother.
Yeah, hey, you just get a handshake right here. The gift card's in the back.
Okay. Front row and everything.
And he was here. Amen.
And did I say your name right, mate? Cesarez?
Cazares.
Totally butchered. Totally butchered.
We should prep for this stuff.
Okay. I mean, we always pick the hottest names. This is for 500. This is for Cha Hallowell from Chris.
Let's go.
500, girl. Thank you. Don't spend it all at once.
You know what? What I just learned is you should sit in the front row.
Front row is for the win.
That's what I just learned. You should sit in the front row.
Oh, my goodness.
All the smartest kids sit in the front row.
So we're winding down. We've got, there's a lot more to do today. There's
Tons of
workshop
breakouts.
mania, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a good morning so far. I'm pretty full, but I got room for more.
I don't know the agenda. I'm sure there's some lunch. There's tons of workshops, guys. Go to the breakouts. Go to the workshops. There's
Go to the
gonna
app.
be amazing content from lots of different people on lots of different topics. Data management and worship planning and apps and giving and all kinds of good stuff. And content on the actual products and using it. So have a great time at the workshops. Thank you guys again.
Go to the expo.
We'll see you at the expo hall.
Give it up for the panel. Tithely next. Woo! Man. Why? I was going to entertain y'all with a song, but since you're leaving, okay, here's the, you like it? We got workshops, level 3, then lunch. We got some stuff going on in the exhibit hall, have lunch with your teams. There's a bunch of different things going on. Then more workshops, level 3, back here at 4:15, and I got some jokes for you. Okay, we'll see you guys then. Have a great session.